Ahmed said, Inshallah ta'ala, today we will go over briefly the story of Abu Musa al-Ashari radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. Abu Musa al-Ashari radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, we hear a lot of narrations in the ahadith about Abu Musa al-Ashari, but what was his name? We know, we hear Abu Huraira, we hear Abu Dhar and others, and they have names, like we have names. So what was the name of Abu Musa al-Ash'ari? That's number one. His name was Abdullah ibn Qais. Abdullah ibn Qais, popularly known amongst the Ummah as Abu Musa al-Ash'ari. And in the narration, most of the time is Abu Musa al-Ash'ari. But if you come across Abdullah ibn Qais, then it's good to know, is that Abu Musa al-Ash'ari? It's a rare occasion, but it might happen, right? It might happen. So, Abu Musa al-Ash'ari, in an introduction, was sent to Basra by Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu ta'ala anhum. And when he came to the people of Basra, he said, I came to teach you Kitabullah, the book of Allah, and its implications. I came to teach you the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and I have been ordered to also clean your streets. As a governor, I have been ordered to clean your streets. And this is by an order by Amir al-Mu'mineen Umar ibn Khattab radiyallahu ta'ala anhum. So the people istaghrabu, they were shocked, like you were appointed governor and we're used to being taught the Quran and the Sunnah, but now you're saying that you were also ordered to clean our streets. Al-Hasan ibn Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he said there was no rider of a horse that came to Basra better than Abu Musa al-Ash'ari. Abu Musa al-Ash'ari, in a nutshell, was a governor, a qadi of Quran, a qadi, an arbitrator, an abid, a worshipper, a muslih, one who always tried to do islah bayn al-muslimin, between Muslims, without animosity, without preference of one over the other. Sometimes when we try to do islah, we incline towards one side or the other. Right? But Abu Musa al-Ash'ari refrained from that. Abu Musa al-Ash'ari was originally from Yemen. He was from Yemen. He had nazar, he had insight. He was known for his sharp thoughts. And Abu Musa al-Ash'ari, when he decided to go to, he heard about the mission of the Prophet ﷺ, and he went seeking, and he accepted Islam. When he came in, he did suhbah of the Prophet ﷺ. He befriended him, and when he befriended him, he accepted Islam, and he learned from his adab, but then returned back based on the similar instruction that the Prophet ﷺ gave other companions that accepted Islam. Irja'u ila qawmuk. Return to your people. Return to your people. Mas'uliyah, your responsibility, your people. That's first, awla, because it's your family. and they have rights over you. So Abu Musa al-Ashari returned back to his people. And for more than a decade, more than 10 years, was away from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So Abu Musa al-Ashari, again from Yemen, heard about the Risala and went to inquire. Abu Dhar al-Ghifari heard about the Risala and went to inquire. Once they accepted Islam, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, go back to your people. Go back and invite your people to Islam. So Abu Musa al-Ashari stayed more than 10 years inviting his people to Islam. After the Battle of Khaybar, some of the Muhajirin that went to Al-Habasha, they were returning back. And there were Ja'far ibn Abi Talib and others were returning. They went to Medina. And Abu Musa al-Ashari also went to Medina. And he went to Medina, but he didn't go alone, because he was making da'wah, right? So almost a decade, 10 years, away from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, making da'wah, because we sometimes are concerned about numbers. These people were concerned about quality. Quality. And that quality spread Islam. Not the numbers. That quality spread Islam. That quality of 313 defeated 1,000. That quality. So Abu Musa al-Ashari returns back after 10 years with 50 of his people to join him and join Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Because of the da'wah that Abu Musa al-Ashari was engaged in, those that came from Yemen were called Asharis. And Ashari, and those that came with Abu Musa al-Ashari were also named, these are the Asharis, right? And they were praised. They were praised. The Prophet ﷺ said, if there was an expedition and the Asharis had little food, they will take a single garment that they had, they will put whatever they had on that garment, and they will share it amongst themselves. Whatever they had, they would share amongst themselves. And he sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, they are from me and I am from them, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, they are from me and I am from them, even though they're from a different country, right? They're from Yemen. But because of their deen, because of their akhlaq, I am from them and they are from me. Abu Musa al-Ash'ari radiyallahu ta'ala anhu was known for his sound judgment. He was a qadi, he was a judge, he was intelligent. And people used to say, the judges of this ummah are 4. Umar bin Khattab. The judges of this ummah are 4. Umar bin Khattab, Ali bin Abi Talib, Abu Musa al-Ash'ari, and Zayd bin Thabit. Zayd bin Thabit, the scribe of Rasulullah, who wrote the Quran, the scribe of Abu Bakr, who compiled the Quran in a book form, and the scribe of Uthman ibn Affan, who compiled the Quran or was in charge of the project manager of the compilation of the Masahif of Uthman. That's Zayd ibn Thabit. Abu Musa al-Ashari, he was soft-hearted. The people from Yemen were considered soft-hearted, gentle, but courageous. It doesn't mean like they say in this dunya, right? Don't take my kindness for weakness, right? You can be kind, but you can still have the heart of a lion, right? So Abu Musa al-Ashari was kind and used to deal with people based on trust, and he expected that in return. And when he was sincere, so he didn't like to be betrayed. So this is important. Take that in consideration. When dealing with people that were amongst his ranks, amongst his circle, it was based on trust. That fear Allah in betraying or wronging your brother or sister in faith. That's out of the question. So it's based on trust. That means based on this trust, I won't question you. I might inquire, but I won't question your sincerity because we're Muslim. So that's the base. And that's what being a Muslim is. That I trust you. That I sacrifice for you. So Abu Musa al-Ashari had that experience. But in regards of dealing with the mushrikeen and with others, even if they promised, he would look at many different angles and give in, but still be prepared for their treachery, for their lyings, for their deceitfulness. He will still be aware. So this is a mu'min. He has wa'i. He's alert. He's not sleeping. He knows. But with believers, he gives in with love, trust, sincerity. So Abu Musa al-Ashari was made a promise from, he went to Isfahan. He went to Isfahan and they offered to pay the jizya for protection. And Abu Musa al-Ashari agreed, but he didn't trust them. And they betrayed, and he was ready for them. They betrayed, and he was ready for them. And they defeated them. And this is the beginning of that, of the defeats of the Persian Empire, of the Sassanids. So Abu Musa al-Ashari, there was a commander, a Persian commander named Hurmuzan. And Hurmuzan, during the time of Umar ibn Khattab, withdrew as a strategy. And he wanted to attack the Muslims again, but he withdrew. So Umar ibn Khattab, he gathered some commanders. One of them was Ammar ibn Yasir, radiyallahu ta'ala anhuma. Al-Bara ibn Malik. Bara ibn Malik, the brother of Anas ibn Malik. So Al-Bara ibn Malik and Anas ibn Malik were together. Majra al-Bakri, Salama ibn Raja, and then Umar ibn Khattab appointed Abu Musa al-Ashari to be their commander. Abu Musa al-Ashari now is the commander of this army. So they're facing a fortress. They're used to the war of face-to-face, this army versus that army and fighting. Now there's a fortress that is hard to penetrate. And Abu Musa al-Ashari is thinking, we're trying to penetrate. The Persians, they had they had a strategy of throwing chains from the fortress with iron hooks that were burning. Okay, they were burning, and they will catch the Muslims and they will die. So it was hard to penetrate. So Abu Musa al-Ashari decided to get 200 of his soldiers, and he made a connection with a Persian that left their ranks. And he asked him to work on opening the gates a little of the fortress. He said, because once we open the gates, we'll storm in. So that was the strategy. We're going to try, but you're not going to go by yourself. You're going to have 200 men ready to storm in. And then we will lay the final blow. Penetrating a fortress takes a lot of battery life. Right? So within hours of this strategy, Abu Musa al-Ashari and his army, they penetrated and they defeated the Persian ruler named Hurmuzan, and that was a big defeat. But Abu Musa al-Ashari wasn't only a warrior, wasn't only a qadi. He will also resort after war to the recitation of the Quran. And he used to enjoy the reciting of the Quran. And as the Prophet ﷺ said, Abu Musa has been given the flutes of Dawood alayhi salam. Umar ibn Khattab said, he summoned Abu Musa al-Ashari, said, Iqra lana, read to us. Read to us so that we can increase our yearning for our Lord. Read to us, recite to us. So Abu Musa was dedicated to the Quran, dedicated to writing the Quran, dedicated to studying the Quran, to pondering upon the meaning of the Quran. And that's why he had his own writings of the Quran. Abu Musa al-Ash'ari, again, participated in fighting the mushrikeen, participated in these battles. But when it came to Muslims, it was a different approach. When there was the fitna between Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu and Muawiyah radiallahu ta'ala anhu, Abu Musa, he didn't like the idea of Muslims killing Muslims. So Abu Musa didn't take side. But he tried to analyze. He said, yes, Ali radiallahu ta'ala was rightfully selected or elected. But the matters got out of hand and deaths have occurred and things have transpired. So we have to find a different alternative. So Abu Musa had an idea. He said, Ali radiallahu ta'ala should renounce his khilafah and Muawiyah should renounce his interest in the khilafah, and then we will establish a shura and the Muslims will decide who will be the khalifa. Because there was already conflicts. So that's what Abu Musa al-Ashari was suggesting. Ali radiallahu anhu accepted for them to have an arbitrator from Ali's side and an arbitrator from Muawiyah's side. So think about this. These are Sahabas. But the Sahabas, again, were human beings. The only ma'asum is Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And if a Sahabi made a mistake, we still say radiallahu ta'ala anhu. We still show the utmost honor and respect just for the fact that they have that title of Sahabat al-Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam. That's aqidatuna. That's our aqidah. That's the way we look at them. Right? So they, as human beings, they maybe made human judgments. Now this is with the growth of the community. So here Ali was selected or was recommended for Abu Musa al-Ashari to be his arbitrator. Ali radiallahu ta'ala also was a qadi too, right? So Ali said, Abu Musa has a soft heart, has a softness for the mu'mineen. So perhaps he might be deceived, right, in this arbitration. But if the community selected him, then khalas, I will go with him. So then the two selected was Abu Musa al-Ashari and Amr ibn al-As. Amr ibn al-As. So here is the dialogue. Abu Musa says, "O Amr, what do you think of this suggestion that there is a common good of the ummah and the pleasure of Allah?" So Amr said, Amr ibn As radiallahu ta'ala anhu, Amr ibn As radiallahu ta'ala anhu, who was the first governor, a Muslim governor in Egypt, where the first masjid was established, Masjid Amr ibn As, right? So Amr ibn As was the Sahabi of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So Amr ibn As said, "What is it?" Abu Musa said, let's nominate Abdullah ibn Umar ibn Khattab as the Khalifa. He himself has not involved himself, has not taken a side. So he's neutral. So it will be good. So Amr said, "What do you think if we appoint Muawiyah for the position?" Amr ibn As was determined, right? He has a loyalty. Abu Musa said, "It is neither right for Muawiyah to have this position, nor does he deserve it." Amr said, "Don't you know that Uthman," now he brought a different angle. "Don't you know that about the istishhad of Uthman ibn Affan radiallahu ta'ala anhu?" Said, "Yes." "Then don't you know that Muawiyah is from the descendant of Uthman radiallahu ta'ala anhu? And doesn't Allah say in the Quran, and He used an ayah, whoever is killed unjustly, we have given his heirs authority." But here in the tafsir is the authority of what? Of the qisas, right? Of the retribution. But here Amr ibn As was taking it as it means position, authority. So Abu Musa said, "Taqillah ya Amr." Fear Allah, O Amr. Regarding what you have mentioned about the status of Muawiyah, if the position of the Khalifa is based on status, then the person most deserving of it is Abraha ibn Sabbah, and he is a descendant of Yemeni kings, whose domain extend the east and the west. And what status has Muawiyah in comparison to Ali ibn Abi Talib? Regarding your statement that Muawiyah is the wali of Uthman, the person who has the first right of this is his son. Who is the son of Uthman ibn Affan? Amr ibn Uthman. Amr ibn Uthman. So if you say that the heir of Uthman has the right, then it should be the son. However, if you agree with me, then maybe you take Umar ibn Khattab, if we go by that pattern, when he was istushhida, right, after Salat al-Fajr, or doing Salat al-Fajr, then the one who would take the Khalifa was Abdullah bin Umar, the son. But that wasn't the pattern. They had a system of election. They had a process. So Umar said, what prevents you from appointing my son, Abdullah ibn Amr, who was righteous, who also accepted Islam, who performed hijrah before, who accepted Islam before Amr ibn As, who fought his father in the war. They weren't against each other, right? So Abu Musa said, your son is a man of honesty, truth, but you have brought him into this wars. He's involved in these wars. Let us appoint a good person, someone that has not been involved in this back and forth. So he suggested again, Abdullah bin Umar. So Amr said, oh Abu Musa, the only person who can set this matter right is a man who has 2 wisdom teeth. 1 wisdom teeth to eat, and 1 wisdom teeth to feed others. And he said, this is Muawiyah. He's wise. He has 1 wisdom teeth to eat for himself, and with the other wisdom he's feeding others. Abu Musa said, woe to you, O Amr. The Muslims are dependent on us to solve this matter. It's up to us. Abu Musa al-Ashari and Amr ibn As. It's up to us to solve this matter. They fought with swords. Let us return to the original state and not return to the state of the fitna. Then Amr said, what are you suggesting? And Abu Musa said, Ali and Muawiyah leave the position. We set up a shura and we let the Muslims decide who will lead them. We make a shura and let the shura decide who is going to lead the Muslims. Amr said, I agree. I agree with this suggestion. So fast forward. Now they made a decision. Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu leaves the Khilafah, حفاظا على وحدة الأمة. Muawiyah leaves his pursuit of the Khilafah in order to also not give in to this fitna. And we will establish a shura which is neutral, and they will decide, and that's it. So now they're going to announce to the community their decision. So Abu Musa said, why don't you start and announce our decision? Amr bin As said, you go ahead. You go ahead. You're a person of honor, and you go ahead and say first. So Abu Musa said, Ibn Abbas warned Abu Musa. Ibn Abbas said, I fear that Amr is going to deceive you. Okay, this is complicated. So Abu Musa invited Amr to speak first. Amr declined. I will not go before you. You're more honored. You performed the hijrah before me, and you are older than I. So Abu Musa then spoke. He said, O people, we have considered how best God will bring the ummah together for the common good. it seems that the best solution is that the two men, Ali and Muawiyah radiallahu ta'ala anhu, and of course this story has a lot more content to it. So we're just giving like maybe a percentage of the 100% that there's a lot more. There's books written on the details. But just this part of the story. Ali and Muawiyah should withdraw from the Khilafah. A shura will be formed that will choose who will be the next Khalifa. So he said, I agree that Ali and Muawiyah should withdraw. So this is how we will deal with the situation. Then Amir's turn came in. And he got up. He said, O people, Abu Musa has said what you have heard. He has abandoned his friend Ali. And like him, I also abandoned Ali. But I confirm my friend Muawiyah as the Khalifa, as the Amir al-Mu'mineen. Because he is descendant of Uthman and he deserves the position. So Abu Musa al-Ashari was shocked and he was hurt because again, he liked to deal with ikhlas amongst Muslims, with trust, with love, not with this approach. So he was angry and Abu Musa decided to still remain neutral, still not take it personal, and decided, and then Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu and Muawiyah, they decided, Ali recounted and let Muawiyah govern his area, right, the Syria and Egypt. Abu Musa decided to go to Mecca. And he wanted to spend the rest of his life Jamba Bayt al-Atiq, next to the Kaaba. He wanted to devote his time to worship and be in khidmah to those that come and visit the Kaaba. Abu Musa was attached to the Quran and he would engage in a lot of worship to the point that in the peak of the heat, he'll be worshiping, fasting. Abu Musa al-Ashari, when he was about to die, he was known for constantly saying a phrase, Allahumma anta salam wa minka salam. He tried to make peace, but he remembered faith. Allahumma anta salam. Oh Allah, you are the source of peace. Regardless of our wisdom, of our cleverness, of our ability, of our skills, of our diplomacy, of all of that, Allahumma anta salam wa minka salam. And salam comes from you. This is how Abu Musa al-Ashari was known. He loved the ummah, loved unity, and strove for that, even if he didn't have a good result. He still maintained neutral in the midst of fitna. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq and bless us with knowledge that is beneficial. Bless us with wealth that is pure. Bless us with actions that are accepted. One bonus. Before I tell her, just because I saw you, I want to give you this bonus. In the book of Ibn Kathir, Qasas al-Anbiya, there is a section where he talks about some prophets that were from Bani Israel. And one of them is Prophet Daniel. And the one that narrates that story was Abu Musa al-Ashari, and just the part when Umar ibn Khattab sends Abu Musa al-Ashari, and he finds in this fortress a corpse that was, the body was preserved, and when he found some dinars, and he found the ring, and the ring had a carving of 2 lions with a boy in between. And when Umar ibn Khattab was informed, number one, he said, if his body was preserved, that means he was a prophet. And the wealth, whatever gold, goes to the Muslims, right? Because the prophets do not inherit wealth. They inherit knowledge. And he said, as for the ring, keep it. Because it's a reflection of his story. The story that there was a king that was persecuting the people, that was attacking Al-Quds, and this boy had faith, and this boy was named Daniel, and the king decided to put him in a cage with 2 lions, and the lions, because they're on the fitrah, instead of attacking and pouncing this boy Daniel, they started licking him, and they didn't attack him. So this is why Prophet Daniel had a ring made for himself with 2 lions with a boy. So this is the one that relates the story, and there's more details, is Abu Musa al-Ashari, and this is Al-Qasas al-Anbiya, stories of the prophets by Ibn Kathir. Wa sallallahu wa baraka ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi. Alhamdulillah.